Hi, this is David, and welcome to this video, yet another video on the human technology tools. And as we know by now, the human technology tools are designed to give you a reminder of how life works and a powerful application tool for that knowledge for when you need it the most, especially in times of either crisis or in times of growth opportunities. Now, there are several of these tools, and they all are meant to work together. This particular one is called the JourneySCRIPT tool, and this will help you craft your journey, because whenever you make a goal or you want to make a transformation or something, let's say you want to achieve a goal, you will go through a journey. In that journey, you will transform either perceived limitations or the challenge itself, and you yourself will change somewhat to be a different person. And in this transformation, you will achieve your goal. So literally, you are a hero on a transformational journey as you live your life and your passions. So this tool helps you craft that journey in a more aware, awake state rather than fumbling through it blindly, you could say. So you can download this PDF from ahappypocket.com, and you'll also get over there, you can find the book A Happy Pocket Full of Life, which has an entire chapter dedicated to further explaining this journey. So on this video, we're just going to go give it a an overview approach. So let's look at the fundamentals and the details of this tool. Now, as you can see, there are several circles here. Okay, the innermost circle, the white one, the one that outside of the brown one, is a space for you to make minor notes or points as your journey progresses. You can make them in pencil, so that you can erase them as you need to, or you can use a separate sheet of paper. It's up to you. You'll also notice that at the top right over there, it says goal statement. So this is where you make a note of your goal that you wish to achieve. Okay, and then you'll also notice that there is now two other circles outside the white one, and there is a line dividing the two. The green circle represents the stages that you will typically go through in your journey towards achieving your goal. Now, these are based on what historians, psychologists, and so on have come to realize about people's lives, that they generally follow one story. Now, that story has come to be called the monomyth, or in the world of movie making, they call it the hero's journey. But it's the same, the mono story or the monomyth, and it has certain stages that seem to be standard. So these are the stages of the inner journey that you will go through. Your inner journey, that includes your beliefs, feelings, and thoughts, how they will transform as you go through that journey. Then the outer ring shows your outer journey, what will be happening in the outside world. And of course, they're both in quotes, because inner and outer are just a matter of perception, that actually everything happens within your consciousness, even though some appears to be outside of you and some appears to be inside of you. So again, here are the 12 steps of that outer journey all the way around, and they correspond to the 12 steps of your inner psychological journey, so to speak. Okay, and then this dividing line here, dividing the circles from the upper half and the lower half, is to mark the following. The upper half is your ordinary or known world. This is where you already are before you start on your journey, and where you end up, your day-to-day life, you could call it. Then once you're in your journey, quite often you find that life does appear to be, in quotes, not normal. I'm not saying that you're going to find any flying camels and pink elephants or anything, but what I mean is that I think we've all been on a transformational journey whereby we've been facing a challenge, and somehow, although we are in this reality and we are interacting and having our coffee in the morning, everything, we're not somehow doing the normal things we do every day. This world is called the special or the unknown world. It's unknown because whenever you start your journey, you start from a point where you know what, you know basically about your life and everything. Then you, at some point, you cross over into a area where it's unknown. Whenever, like the last time when you went and did decided to achieve a new goal that you never achieved before, you did go to a point where you entered an unknown world. You were basically clueless and you didn't know what to expect, and you were faced with all sorts of challenges, and then you mastered it and all that, and then you went and it became a familiar world to you after a while. So that's why this circle is divided in two. Now, the way you use this, let's first describe how you're going to use this, and then we'll get into each of the steps. Like I said, this very short video, we cannot give enough coverage to each of these steps, and you can always look at the book A Happy Pocket Full of Life for details, and that's at ahappypocket.com. Now, you'd use the JourneySCRIPT tool to clarify the end goal, and the end resources you will need. Let's say you've written your goal is to achieve X. Okay, JourneySCRIPT allows you to really define that clearly. Like, for example, you need to make sure it's well detailed. Yeah, it's you've clarified how it's gonna look like. If it were, let's say, if we were to watch a movie of how your life is like once you've achieved the goal, this is how you'd really clarify what your goal is like. And JourneySCRIPT, the tool, will also help you identify what kind of person are you going to have to become to have that goal realized. What kind of new beliefs are you going to adopt that you don't have now? How are you going to be feeling about life that you don't feel now? Your thoughts and so on. And also, there's in the book A Happy Pocket Full of Life, we talk about archetypes. Archetypes are the patterns that influence or interact with you in your life. We all of us have 4 archetypes. Okay, we all have the child archetype in us, the inner child, you might want to say, and that inner child can be the wounded inner child, the when I was a child, like, you understand, wounded child. And then you have the eternal child, the orphan child. These are all patterns that influence our life in one way or another. And then so that's one archetype that we all share as human beings, the child archetype. It is in all of us. All of us have the child archetype, and some ways that the child archetype expresses itself is as the wounded child, the orphan child, the eternal child, the nature child, those people who are just so into nature, tree hugging and all that. Then you have the second archetype that we all share is the victim. We all have a victim in us. Yeah? And then we all have a prostitute in us. By that, I mean we all at one point or another might sacrifice our integrity and values in exchange for safety. See? And then we have the saboteur archetype. We all sabotage ourselves one or another. And on top of that, we all have other archetypes. For example, some people have the princess archetype, some the builder archetypes, the artist, the rebel. You see, these are patterns that influence your life. So by looking at those, keeping them in mind, you're now able to use this chart that you see in front of your eyes. So what you do is you start with number 12. You take a pencil and mark down here the end goal and the resources that you would have attained inside you as a person to achieve this end goal. Let's take an easy goal that a lot of people have. The common goals that I can think of are, everyone wants a certain kind of relationship, or they want to be financially free, or those are common goals. So let's stick with those. What kind of person would you have to become to have that kind of relationship? These are the inner resources I'm talking about, or to have that level of financial freedom. Yeah. So these are the resources I'm talking about. The kind of person you will transform to be to get that, or to manifest that in your life. Okay. Because that the relationship itself and the money are just things that will come automatically because you have become that kind of person. You know, you don't have to fight and struggle for them. They will automatically come when you are that kind of person. See? If, for example, you thought you're an unlovable, abandoned creature and you want an amazing relationship with an amazing person, you have to change and become a person that has loved themselves, I suppose. You know, I don't want to dictate what you have to be, but I'm giving a supposed imagination. One who loves themselves before such an amazing person can love you, because even if they did love you when you don't love yourself, you won't even recognize that you're being loved. So those are the transformation. The relationship will come anyways once you become that person, you see, or the wealth or the health or anything. So you write that down there. So that's in number 12. That's the reward you come back with from your journey. So you go now to number 1. Okay. Now, keeping in mind the archetypes that you are in your life, or even you can just feel the intuition. And for more details, like I said, look at the book. You can now start making notes of where you now. Okay, you can put your note there on your ordinary world, you know, where you have limited awareness of, you know, what it is that you desire, the challenges or the opportunity. Okay, and by now, if you're already using this tool, I would guess you've already passed stage 1, because now you are on stage 2, whereby you have the call to adventure happening, where you have the awareness inside you of a need for change. This is the call for adventure. And then make some notes there. What's going to call you to adventure? What is it that's triggering? What's pulling you there? Okay? And then from here, we are now going to write notes about the future as you see it today. And remember, as you move on, trust me, it will change a lot. So you might want to make notes, but be ready to change these notes. Maybe get a bigger piece of paper, or you know, you're just using them as a guide for now, because it's way better than having nothing, you know, no guide. But know that life itself might even surprise you. What you think you might need in step 8 or 7 might end up being not the case. But it's good to at least put down on paper that that's what you thought you needed, because, you know, it will it's something to aim for. And, you know, so from here now we're going to write things that you think you will need, knowing that you likely will change. So you have write down whatever most of us, whenever we are moving on to something new, let's even say it's a new relationship, you have resistance. You're like, I'm not confident that I can go and chat this person up and tell them how I feel and everything. I'm afraid that they'll reject me, or I don't know if I can start this business because I'm afraid I'm going to fail, or whatever. You know, there's a kind of a resistance inside of you. This on the outside is called the refusal of the call. And then you have a step where you're going to overcome fear and resistance. And on the outside, it's called the meeting of the mentor. Now, if you read the notes in the book, these things are expanded. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to meet a human being who's going to say, hi, I am your mentor. This is what you're going to do. Not necessarily. It could be something you see in a movie, something you pick up in a magazine, or a friend you're having coffee with and they tell you something and you go, aha, you know, it's something that will help you overcome your fear and resistance. You know, it could be a thing, a place, a person, whatever, you know. Then at that point, you're going to cross the threshold. You're going to commit to change. This is where there's no turning back once you cross this line, guys. So, and this is where the beginning of your transformation comes. This is when, you know, it's go. Again, all these are expanded very deeply in the book. Okay. So now you have trying new states and conditions. This on the outside. Let's look at the outside first. On the outside, you're going to appear to have tests. You know, then you're going to appear to have, in quotes, allies and enemies. So you're going to be thrown challenges. Things are going to very much be the exact manifestations of your fears. Yeah, you're going to be tested. Life will actually throw to you manifestations of the things you're afraid of in the very first place. The things that are causing you resistance. The things that are the opposite of the resources you expect to come back with in step 12. You know, your reward. And you'll also meet people who seem to be your allies and they're helping you. Others who seem to be your enemy and they're basically screwing you. But you know, these are all coming from your consciousness, although it appears it's on the outside. So this is where you're going to try new states and conditions of being. And so you just keep trudging on, and you can make notes what you think those things will be. And then here you start to approach what is called as the abyss. And inside, you'll sort of get ready for a major change. You might not even realize you're getting ready for a major change. I usually don't realize this step, number 7. I don't notice when I'm close to the cave or the abyss, you could say. But some people do, but you could make a note there as well. Now, after that, you're going to have the big change with the feeling of life and death. This is usually something that shocks and rocks your current belief structure, your perspective, makes you really go, and you feel like a part of you is going to die. And in the movies, sometimes actually somebody actually dies or something. In religion, you find Jesus dying for 3 days. In other movies, they're kind of like swallowed in and then they're spat out by life or something. They go into a place where, you understand, it's like a place where there's a big arc in the story, and in your story as well. So there'll be a big change, and the way you'll notice you're in there is because you'll almost feel like an aspect of you is dying. You'll be really scared. But knowing that, the good thing with having this chart is knowing that, that's just an apparition. So you can kind of, embrace it actually. You don't want to avoid it. You don't want to run away from it. And really closing your eyes is not going to help you pass that stage into the next stage. You will have to face this. So it's going to be your biggest challenge, your ordeal. And then you're going to have a revelation. And they call it an abyss because quite often, not always, but 40% of the time, you're going to feel like you're all alone, that no one else, everyone around you doesn't understand you, and maybe they even think you're a loser, and no one can understand you, and you feel quite alone. Some people have even called it the dark night of the soul. But it will pass. But that's where you test. You see, this is where the old ideas that were limiting you die. And then you're reborn. You come out of the other side, and you accept internally. You will accept the consequences and the new insights and the new knowledge of what you've learned. For example, over here you might realize, so I had nothing to fear about. I was afraid of maybe not having friends. I just realized I'm good. Not necessarily because you suddenly 100 friends are surrounded you, but maybe because you realize that you have the resources internally to be fine, or you're not lonely. You might be alone, but you're not lonely. Or you might be broke, but you're not powerless. You don't have to be afraid of that, things like that. So you accept the new consequences and the new rewards, the new insights and knowledge. Okay? And then you start getting ready to go back to normal life. Of course, you've been around here all that time, but within you, it did not feel like you're really plugged into normal life. So over here, you're likely to face a new challenge to integrate back, because your old life might need a whole revamp. You understand? It's like cleaning out the closet. You need to rededicate. And sometimes there's also a challenge at this point to integrate back. It might be a challenge actually as well. And you might right then face the final attempts and a bit of last minute danger. Again, read the book Happy Pocket Full of Life for more details on this. And once you're done with that, you'll achieve mastery. You'll have returned with your reward. Of course, you might still face the same challenges again next year, or after 10 years, or after 20. But now, since you have the necessary inner resources, they'll no longer be taking you to this dark abyss and whatever. It will be a no problem for you, And so you'll have achieved your goal. Now, the good thing is you have today, before you start this journey, by making all these notes, how you think each one of these steps will look like. First, it prepares you that yes, life will get like this. Secondly, it calls upon those changes faster because you don't have to fight. Because without knowing that, expecting that things can get hairy, you will probably get stuck in a stage, not wanting to move on. But by knowing this is normal, you're more relaxed and you can cruise through. And also by keeping this kind of thing, it helps you call even within you the resources that are needed. Anyways, now once you've done that, remember we're doing that on paper. Now this is what you do. You act out that story. Remember, we're making notes of what you think might happen at every stage. Now you take that from paper and then you do a dress rehearsal. You literally act out this story. You rehearse it. You can do it by yourself at the beginning, and then maybe you might want to bring in a friend to watch you. But you rehearse the story just as if you're making a movie, a 30-minute movie of your life to come. And then rehearse it, make any adjustments wherever it feels like you need to make an adjustment, whatever. But do it until it starts to feel natural. It anchors in your being, in your thoughts, and in your feelings, until you can relate to it easily, until you can tell a stranger, hey, this is what's going to happen in my life, tomorrow, and then I'm going to bump into that thing, and then I'm going to overcome my fear, and then, I'm going to be shaken to the core in that step. You understand? By acting out this story, you're, again, bringing in the resources that you require. Remember, imagination is the way you communicate with your higher self. Acting out, visualizing, and even beyond that, acting out is such a good communication device that, once you communicate to your higher self your readiness, of course it's going to look at some of what you've acted out and go, okay, that guy is just doing that because he doesn't have a bigger picture. I'm going to fix it this way and that way and that way. But at least you have initiated that communication with your higher self. And now all you're going to do is follow the excitement as your higher self communicates back to you by leading you via the conduit of excitement. And I think we cover that in the level script tool, so we're not going to cover that here. Just watch the level script tool video for more details on that. But you act it out, you feel it completely, yeah. And then once you're done acting it out, now start to watch how your real life, in quotes, starts to match the journey you planned. Where it doesn't, whatever, take appropriate responses, adjust where needed, and of course, at all times, follow your excitement. That's how your higher self communicates with you. And also use your other human technology charts at each stage so they can help you resolve matters quickly. Instead of being stuck for 2 years on one step that you could have done in one afternoon, use these tools. They'll help you get, by faster and faster. So, thank you for that. This is one of the most powerful tools you can imagine that is available. This goes way beyond visualization. This is something else, because this brings in your whole journey. It accepts the fact that you will have challenges, because usually when you do goal visualization, you're not taking account into the fact that you will have challenges, that you will have to go through transformation, and that there are patterns that are influencing your life, such as archetypes. This gets that into account so that you have a more full, richer, faster manifestation level. It's an amazingly powerful tool. This is like visualization on jet fuel and steroids and rocket fuel all at once. So I hope you enjoyed that. Try it, use it practically, in theory, and you'll see how it works. Great. Thank you.